We're Bison! We are impacted! We're Bison! We're ready to get up! We want to win! Light the fire of power and make us free! We never break down! We want to win! We are impacted! The best team!
Hello and welcome back to episode 39 of Impacted, coming to you live via the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube and Twitch. I'm your host Bison, and today I'm joined by the TNI-UK team of Simply Steve and the Joe-ker. Hello chaps, how are we doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, buddy, not too bad. And Steve, how about yourself, friend?
Yeah, we're all good this end. Cheers, bub.
Good, glad to hear it. Of course, we're we're all very excited to introduce our guest in a second. She's there backstage waiting, so that's all good. We're just going to wait for a few of you guys to come in so that you don't miss the first 15, 20 minutes of the show, because it's going to be really good. At this point, if you are with us already, can I ask that you all give us a thumbs up now? In fact, I'm waiting. Do it right now. Thumbs up. Yeah, give us that thumbs up. And if you're new to the show, hit subscribe button and give that bell a little tickle. And you'll never miss a listen of any of the great content coming out each and every week from the TNI-UK and of course the US teams. Okay, so have we got many people in the chat? Because I don't want to bring Alexia in until we've got a couple of people in there.
There's only three at the moment.
There's only 3. My goodness me. Let's see that build up. I'm sure that'll build up as time goes on. What have you been up to, Joe? What have you been up to this week?
Taking care of my dog.
Yeah. Must be starting to grow now. Must be starting to get bigger.
Oh, he's getting bigger. He's getting a lot more mature now and a bit more mature. Yeah, but over time with the dog as halted down the time rating this article I was meant to be doing for Rosemary. So that's not going to be done by Bound for Glory for WrestleBuddy, unfortunately. That's going to be a couple of weeks later.
Okay.
But the dog's been worth it. It's been huge, and I'm so glad he's here.
Okay, fair enough.
Right now, he's charging back and forth in between us right now.
Oh, fantastic! Right, I'll tell you what. Let's bring our special guest in. I know a lot of people are excited to see her. She's been creating quite a stir with the TNI tribe already this week. When we announced it, she was going to be on the show. So today, I'd like to introduce our very, very special guest, the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole. Welcome to Impacted, Alexia. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, good. It's really nice to have you with us today. Like I said, I know that ever since we announced that you were coming on, there's been a great response to that from the TNI tribe. But I tell you what, first of all, I think it'd be really great if you could basically give us some insight into what you've been up to recently, because I know that in Canada things have been a little bit because you are in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. So I know that things have been a little bit different to what they are in the US and the UK in terms of being able to get around and obviously perform at shows, etc. But if you give us an insight into what you've been up to recently, what promotions you've been featured, and where basically can we find you in the future?
Yeah. So recently, I mean, honestly, not much. Like Ontario specifically has been locked down since November, and we're just starting to open up like this week. So not much has been happening. I've done some, Barry Wrestling has done some tape shows, so I did that. I did some stuff with Super Kicked, which was a lot of fun. I also did a lot of work with Backyard Pro, which has been the most fun I've had in wrestling in a while, to be honest. Like, it's basically a group of us. Von Vertigo started it. He's done some work in the UK. He's from Canada as well. He started a promotion of parody backyard wrestling, and a bunch of us decided to just create new characters, try and be funny, and it's been so much fun. It's actually this Thursday, so tomorrow, is our final episode of season 3, which I will be defending my Backyard Pro Championship against Rob Banks, a backyard wrestling legend.
Okay.
I've been a lot of backyard wrestling pretty much during the pandemic, which has been a lot of fun. It's been really cool because I didn't watch any backyard wrestling prior to becoming a wrestler. So it's a cool world to try out and to experiment with while everything's shut down still.
Definitely. Now, at this point, if anyone in the chat has any questions for Alexia, just pop it in the chat, and we, if we get time, we will put those questions to her. It's always good to have some of you guys get involved in that. In the meantime, I know that the guys have a couple of questions for you. So let's start with Steve this time. Last week we started with Joe. So this week, let's start with Steve. What question do you have for Alexia, Steve?
One that I was sort of thinking of, like, Impact Wrestling currently have like Slammiversary on the horizon and a couple of tapings. If we were to see Alexia Nicole debut, what would you personally put forth to have a debut to make it memorable and impactful? What would you want that debut to be like?
I'd want to wrestle Deonna. I'd want to challenge for the women's title, the Knockouts title. I think it'd be cool. She's someone on my list of people I've wanted to wrestle for a long time. And I mean, I've done some work with Impact, so I won't be totally unknown. So I think it'd be cool just to come out and challenge her right away.
Mm-hmm. Damn right. I think it certainly would.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I think
there is an open spot.
There is.
I saw
there
that.
is. One thing is that you talk about the fact that you've done some stuff with Impact previously. What was it like, sort of, kind of coming in and working with the Knockouts at that time? Because you had about 2 or 3 appearances, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done a couple of appearances. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a good experience for sure because I never wrestled on TV. So it was really good to learn how to do that, first of all, because it's way different than just wrestling in an indie show. And it was a good environment to learn it in. The Knockouts are so friendly. They're so great to work with. Just overall a really good experience. Really, I learned so much. I'm really grateful for all the opportunities I've had with Impact. I mean, hopefully there's more down the road. We'll see. But yeah, like just overall really good, a lot of fun. Helped me learn who I was in the ring and kind of figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, Joe, I know that you've got a question as well, buddy. What have you got for Alexia?
Yeah, I was going to follow on from the work you did with Impact Wrestling. I was wondering, was a contract ever on the line after those appearances in Impact Wrestling? Did it cross your mind, or was it ever talked about? Because after what I'd seen you do on Impact Wrestling, I was thinking to myself, she needs to be there right now because she's on fire. I didn't know that time that one appearance at Impact Wrestling was the only time you've done first time you've done televised wrestling, because it was just so professional and so well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it. There was a bit of talk, and like the pandemic just kind of shut everything down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We were going back and forth about it, like maybe another appearance, but pandemic happened, and even though Impact's technically Canadian owned, everything's still in the States. So without a visa and a contract, I can't leave to wrestle there. So yeah, kind of up in the air. There was a bit of talking, but pandemic really just kind of got in the way of everything.
Yeah.
2020
happened.
Can I just mention? Can I just say one of the best things? And Gary's just brought it up in the chat. There was Alexia was great in the Rough Riders.
Yes, I love that promo. I love that so much.
That was really good. That was really good. We really enjoyed that, and I think all of us enjoyed your time on Impact, and we have been hoping and praying that you would definitely make a return. Now, one question I had was, do you think we could see you join the Impact's roster in the future? I mean, obviously you've sort of kind of touched on that. You've obviously mentioned that you'd like to face Deonna, which is, I mean, let's face it, who wouldn't? Definitely one of the best female talents in the world right now. But recently, Impact have obviously introduced the Knockouts tag titles. Now, I've spoken about a certain Canadian that's recently returned back to Impact Wrestling, and I've always said I thought you'd make a fantastic tag partner for them. I'm going to say who it is. I'm wondering whether you might say it. So, if there was anyone that's currently on the Knockouts roster that could possibly be a tag partner for Alexia Nicole, who would that be?
That's a good question. Who would be a good tag partner for me? I feel like Kira and Tasha are already a team. And then, or I guess Havoc and Rosemary are also a team. I mean, I love Susan, but I'd love to team with Susan. I want to do.
Can you trust her though?
I think so. I would try to. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Susan. Susan, I think, is someone who I'd like to team. I've wrestled her, so it's someone who I'd like to be on her side.
So, as Susie, Susan, or Sue Young, though, which one? All of them?
All of them would be cool. I feel like Susie would suit me the best, to be honest, though. I think me and Susie would get along the best, but Sue in general is just great. So to tag with her, I'd be happy.
Yeah, that sounds really, really cool. We didn't mention who I would have put you with, because I would have put you with fellow Canadian Taylor Wilde, because I just think you and Taylor would be amazing.
I think of that? She trained me too, but if anything, I want to wrestle her. I do want to she showed me my first bumps, all my first moves I'd ever done. I think it'd be cool to wrestle her. Teaming with her would be great. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think of her. Damn it.
Yeah, I just think to myself, I just thought that, I knew that she had a part in your training. And I just thought it'd have been a cool way of sort of kind of like, proper bringing you in to the Knockouts roster would be like, Taylor bringing you in, you become a tag team, and it made quite a cool story. But I just think you're obviously you must have a similar style as well, because obviously she's helped train you. So I just think your two styles of wrestling would work really, really well together. So I think it would be amazing. And I just cannot believe that have you never actually wrestled Taylor then?
Never.
Wow.
Never wrestled her.
Wow.
I'd like to, but never wrestled her.
Yeah, that would be amazing, because she's one of my all-time favorite TNA knockouts, and I was over the moon when she came back. So it was great for me, and we've talked about it on the show before how cool it would be if you came in with her. But yeah, we're big fans. Have we got anything in the chat at the moment? Because I think looks like Gary's mentioning something along the lines of you'd make a cool team member for Team Canada 2. What are your thoughts on that?
I'd be down. I'd love to.
That would be cool. We get the coach in there. Scott D'Amore,
female Team Canada.
That's it. We're gonna have to send Scott D'Amore some tweets, aren't we? Just bug him, hassle him. Get it on the cards. It's fantastic. So in terms of obviously things starting to open up now between Canada and America, is that starting out? Because obviously we've now got Taylor starting to come over into the US, and obviously I know Josh Alexander, etc. So that there's quite a few people now that are starting to head over. Do you think that possibly the future is starting to get a bit closer? You might start popping over to the US now?
I'm hoping to. I had surgery in May, at the end of May, just to fix my shoulder up a bit. So I can't actually wrestle yet for a couple more months, but I'm hoping that once I can just start going back over. Because I miss it. I miss traveling. I miss going to the US. There's only so much you can do in Canada, and with that exposure, it's so limited that going to the States, going to the UK even, would be really helpful. So I'm looking forward to doing that again.
Yeah, that would be great. So you've wrestled in the UK before?
No, I wrestled in the States, but I want to. The UK is on my list of places to go, things to do.
Yeah, there's some great indie promotions over here. There's a brand spanking new one actually, which is run by a guy called Gary Ward.
Yes.
Who has something to do with over the years AAW, Ring of Honor, and stuff like that. He's just started a new promotion which was gonna kick off prior to the pandemic, called Wrestle Carnival. And I know that he's got big plans of trying to bring some guys over from the US and the Canada and some of the top guys. So definitely worth keeping in contact with Gary, that's for sure. So that's really, really great. And it'd be good to see maybe AAW, Trent. Maybe AAW could get involved over in Chicago. That'd be quite nice to see turn up over there, wouldn't it?
Trent was asking if there was any promotions in America you'd be interested in signing to.
In signing to?
Yeah,
working in the US.
Working in the US.
Oh man, I've done one show with Beyond. I'd love to go back. I'd love to do some GCW. I mean, AEW would be a ton of fun. Ring of Honor, I'd like to work with again. I've done that a couple times. I'd also love to work with Shimmer or Shine. I haven't yet. I just haven't ever gotten the chance. The dates never lined up. So if I could do that, I'd be really excited about that.
Yeah. So just another quick one then. How long have you actually been wrestling? When did you start training?
I started training in 2013. Because I was 15 when I started training. 2011. I was 15, and then I was 17 when I had my first match in 2013. So it's been
10 years.
Oh, it's been a long time. It's been about 10 years since I started training.
Yeah, 10 years. So you've been doing really really, you're ready now, aren't you? You're ready. Let's just get Alexia on TV. We need to do a hashtag Alexia for Impact. That's what I think. Just like they did with the Heath. Heath for Impact, Alexia for Impact. I think that would be great. We get some t-shirts done. We get her on it. It'd be great. It'll work. It worked for Heath.
Do it.
It worked for Heath.
Yeah.
It's got to work for Alexia, surely. It'd be great. So come on, guys, in the chat, let's start it off. Hashtag Alexia for Impact. Let's get her in there. That'd be great. Make sure that you make sure you get Scott D'Amore. You've got to keep hassling him. Scott D'Amore, hashtag Alexia for Impact. It'd be great to join the Knockouts division. It'd be fantastic. Now, over the years, like I said, you have come in and done a couple of appearances for Impact. You've done some stuff with Ring of Honor. Now, was that when they do those sort of kind of like tournaments style stuff? Was it?
For Ring of Honor, it was the War of the Worlds tour. So every time they'd come to Toronto, I just, hey, do you wanna manage? Do you want? We have a spot for you on the show to wrestle. Come on down if you want it. So I got to do a couple of those, really cool. I've gotten to meet everyone there, which was really nice, make some contacts. But yeah, so I'd like to, obviously, again, I got to go into the US to do it, but I'd love to work with them even more, because especially now that they have the women's title and the tournament and everything going on, it's really exciting to me, more opportunities there. So that's something I'd like to go for.
Yeah, definitely. Now, here's another question for you, right? Okay, this is a good one. So over the last sort of kind of like 3 or 4 months or so, obviously we've had a lot of female talents being released from the WWE. Now, this could be good or a bad thing. We know that Deonna got released. She's now Knockouts champion and that's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Is there, other than Deonna, because we know that you'd like to face Deonna, out of the recent releases, is there one of those guys that you would really feel that you could have a real good match with?
I think me and Chelsea could have a good match. We were supposed to actually wrestle years ago at a show in Toronto, and again, like something came up, she couldn't make it, but I would love to wrestle her, and she seemed like her character work is so great, whether it's as the crazy over the top left at the altar hot mess, or you got Chelsea just being herself. She's so good. I'd really love to work with her. So it's me and Chelsea Green, I think, would be a fun match.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that with regards to, I think her Laurel Van Ness the hot mess was one of the best characters I've seen on TNA, over God knows how many years. Her, like you say, her character work is fantastic. And yeah, she was fantastic in that position, definitely. Now what we've got something coming up here. Can you just stated? Okay. So J Bone from Smash This Podcast, which is great to see. He's asked how you started your training in professional wrestling. How did you actually, get into professional wrestling at 15, no less?
I just watched it on TV. I was like, I want to try. It looks fun. I was really dumb at the time. Didn't realize how painful that would be. But I just thought it'd be cool. I Googled schools in my area. I found one 20 minutes away from me. Went to go check it out. And, thankfully, all the stars kind of lined up. Taylor Wilde was going to start training an all-girls class for about 5 months. So it was a great intro to it. It was a great way to start getting into wrestling. And, I'm so thankful for those first 5 months with her, because I learned so much. And she was really, really helpful. Like, I don't know if I'd still be in wrestling if it wasn't for her, just because she made it seem, she was so welcoming, And she really helped me understand what to do, how to do things, and just really grasp those basics before I sort of moved into the bigger classes with everyone else, where I definitely, at 15, I would have been a little more overwhelmed to just be the smallest person, the youngest person in this huge group of giant men. It was nice to start with some girls closer to my age, closer to my size, get comfortable, and then really get into it.
Yeah, that makes total sense, definitely. And we've got one last question from the chat. It comes from Hakeem, who is definitely a friend of the show, writes some fantastic impact-related blogs and stuff. He's basically asking, who is your favorite person to wrestle with, from the Knockouts division? Who is your favorite that you wrestled?
Ooh, Rosemary. I wrestled her a few times. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun to wrestle her. A lot of fun just to travel with her. I've gotten to do some drives with her. She's such a great person. I love her. I miss her. I miss having her around.
Yeah, she's great. Now, are we talking Rosemary or are we talking Courtney? Have you wrestled both? You have?
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Because I mean, obviously, the Impact fan base have probably never really seen her as Courtney Rush. They've only really seen her as Rosemary, unless obviously they've done their research. Because ever since she's come to Impact Wrestling, she just came in as Rosemary, and she's never been anything different apart from sort of kind of her different versions of Rosemary, the 7 deadly sins or whatever it is that she changes her persona and her face with and all the rest of it. I actually saw something the other day on Facebook which I wasn't 100% aware of, but like she basically her character is the 7 deadly sins, and her face makeup changes based on what persona she is wanting to portray at that moment in time. So what you need to do is, when you're watching a Rosemary promo or when you're watching any Rosemary segments, you need to take note of what face makeup she's wearing at that moment, because that will help you determine on where she's coming from in that moment. So I think that's that. She's so clever and so deep and so into her character. It's just absolutely fantastic. Now, I'm assuming that the Total Nonstop Impact, that is Trent coming up with this one. What's your advice to anyone training at such a young age?
It's got some of it. First off, be prepared to suck. Be prepared to not be good at everything. It's not easy to do, especially when you're super young. Like, you don't have, the cardio, the weight training, the conditioning for wrestling, because as teenagers, who really has the conditioning to go a 20-minute matchup without stopping? Nobody. So just be prepared. It's hard. It's very hard. It's not going to be easy to get started. And also just don't, how can I phrase this? Don't force yourself to do things that you don't feel comfortable doing. Like, especially for me, I was super young when I started wrestling. So a lot of people would just be like, oh, you should just do these moves, or I'm going to give you this because you're tiny and you're young and I can do it and you'll be fine. And you can get hurt. So just don't be afraid to put your foot down, say, no, I don't feel comfortable. And yeah, I guess that would be my best advice. Also, don't give up right away. It's very easy to be like, oh, I'm terrible, I don't want to do this. Just keep pushing. The younger you start, the more time you have to get good. And anyone can wrestle. It depends. Some people just need more training than others. So yeah, just don't give up. Don't be afraid to say no, and just keep pushing, because you're not going to be very good when you start.
Well, okay, fair enough. And one last question from the chat. I'm going to go with Trent on this one, because I think this is a great one. Obviously, you're the bubblegum princess. So what we really want to know is, what's Alexia's favorite brand of bubblegum?
Hubba Bubba.
Best
bubbles, best flavors, easy.
Without doubt. Without doubt, Hubba Bubba. And what is your favorite flavor then?
Ooh, the watermelon's really good, but the color looks real gross when you blow a bubble with it.
Right.
I think the blue raz is probably the best.
There you go. How about that? Absolutely fantastic. Well, I think that's all we've got time for, Alexia, to be honest. But thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. And I hope, maybe, you could pop by again in the future. We can have a little bit more of a chat. Maybe once everything started to open up a bit more, we can see you at more shows and stuff. That would be great. But, please remind everyone where we can follow you, keep up to date on all things the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at It's Alexia Nicole and Instagram at Alexia Nicole. And I've got links to pro wrestling tee stores, merch sites, all that on there. So everything else, you can see it on my site, on my socials.
And that's great as well. Let's get that Hubba Bubba endorsement for Alexia. That would be fantastic. Okay, guys, remember, don't make sure you hassle Scott as much as possible. Hashtag Alexia to Impact or Alexia for Impact. Let's get her on that Knockouts roster. She needs a chance at Deonna. She's a fantastic wrestler. Been around, 10 years, trained 10 years, at such a young age. Started training at 15, has already been in the business 10 years. Absolutely amazing. Make sure you follow her on Twitter at It's Alexia Nicole. Don't forget, guys, to keep up to date with everything that she's up to. She's doing a fantastic job, a great wrestler, and we absolutely love her. Thank you for being with us, Alexia. Alexia Nicole, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
It's a pleasure.
Take care. Well, how about that? Alexia Nicole on the show, boys. That was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
was really excited that to hear that she was coming on. So I'm really pleased.
Yeah, and a lot of the guys in the chat seem pretty keen. Seem pretty keen on her as well. So it's great to see. Okay, so what we're going to do now, guys, we've got quite a lot to talk about. So we're going to skip the news and rumors. We know there's a couple of different bits and bobs out there involving, Chelsea Green turned up at Ring of Honor and all this kind of stuff. We're going to leave all of that behind, and we're going to get cracking into what we've got coming up for the rest of the week with Impact Wrestling, starting with tomorrow night on Impact. We've got the first match, obviously, that we're going to get to see on the BTI will be Sabin versus Johnny Swinger. So Chris Sabin versus Johnny Swinger. What are your thoughts on this one, Joe? I know I've got mine, and I'm telling you now, I think this one should be this certainly should be, if Sabin wins, he gets to take over the palace, and it becomes Sabin's palace. We know that he absolutely loves this place. So, what are your thoughts on this one, Joe?
The first I heard about it was on the build up to coming into here, and I burst out laughing just at the thought that Johnny Swinger thinks he's got a chance against Chris Sabin. Yeah. Especially after even hearing Moose giving praises to Sabin in the interview he did with you, But Chris Sabin loves Swinger's Palace. Swinger doesn't want people to hustling his Shazazz daddy, and it's gonna break down. We're gonna have Hernandez and Moose come out, and there's gonna be absolute chaos. But we wouldn't have it any other way. All we need now is for Alicia Edwards to come out and play Peacemaker.
Yeah, that'd be good. You got to get the Momorella out there. We got to get the Momorella out there. And if anybody starts talking about Boomerella again, we're seriously gonna have some trouble. And Steve, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, like at the end of last week, at the Swinger's Palace segment when Swinger wasn't there and Sabin went in, I was like, I really hope that Sabin now kind of says, all right, I'll be in charge. Now we're getting this match. It's sort of like, I really hope they make it for the Palace, because Sabin, like you say, he loves Swinger's Palace, and his mic work is incredibly underrated, and I think he'd make a great host of Sabin's Palace.
I think it would be fantastic. Sabin's Palace would be great. We need to do a hashtag on that one. Hashtag Sabin's
And can
Palace.
you imagine him trying a drunk Sabin trying to boss Alicia Edwards around?
Yeah, it would be brilliant. It would be good. It would be good. Just a little thing there, Hakeem. We're going to get to predictions a little bit later. We're just going to quickly preview tomorrow night, and then we'll head straight into Slammiversary. We've definitely got some thoughts on that, so we'll get through to that in a second. Okay, so we're going to have that match. Obviously, BTI will be BTI. Hopefully, we'll get some. Who knows? We may get a cool segment giving us some insight at who possibly could be turning up at Slammiversary as well during the show. Yeah, that could be interesting. So there's definitely make sure that you tune into BTI. Before Impact Wrestling obviously hits the air. We then move into the Impact Wrestling matches. Now we've got on the card. Now we got no idea which order they're going to be in, so we're just gonna have a quick chat about each match on the card and see where we think these are going. So we've got the Hoss match of Willie Mack versus Falaba versus Doc Gallows versus Joe Doring. Now, this potentially could be an absolute barn burning slobber knocker of a match, couldn't it? You've got Willie Mack and Ba, who are fast, hard hitting wrestlers. They got some great high flying moves, which you don't expect from guys of their size. And then you've got the hard hitting bad boys of Doc Gallows and Joe Doring, who just basically come at you with everything they've got, full power.
One arm forward, and that's it. You're on the floor.
You're done. So, I'm really interested to hear what you guys in the chat as well, think about, where this match is going to go. What are your thoughts on this one, Joe?
The main thing problem I got with this match is if Doc Gallows wins, it's almost a guarantee that the Good Brothers are going to come forth and win at Slammiversary for me. So I'm hoping that this match doesn't lead to an obvious outcome come Slammiversary. But for the match itself, it's a great way to set up Slammiversary. I'm glad they did it this way around rather than have the lightweight or the lighter guys idea they used last week go and head into Slammiversary. It's great that we got to see what the big men can do, because usually they're the ones that come out and do all the work first. So but the fact that Tommy Dreamer's made them go the way around is really smart booking. And it's just a great way to give Willie Mack and Falaba especially some more airtime, because they and hopefully a good decent showing, because we've seen what Joe Doring can do now, and we know how good Doc Gallows has been in recent matches. So it's good to see Willie Mack and Falaba get a bit more exposure, and it's going to be an awesome match, and it could possibly just take all the momentum away from the rest of the night because it's so good.
I think potentially it's going to be an absolute barn burner, this one. Who do you think Joe, who do you think is going to win though? Because I mean, this is the tough thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Doring on this one, but who do you think is going to win?
I think Doc Gallows is going to win, although
Okay.
that was the instinct I had as soon as Carl Anderson won last week, that if they do a match like this next week, then Doc Gallows is going to win. But that's just me probably being too pessimistic and too defeatist. Realistically, I think Joe Doring will probably win to even the odds out, but I'm going to say Doc Gallows probably goes in, and then the Good Brothers have the big advantage. So them losing will still be a massive upset. So it's a win-win, lose-lose, regardless.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got anything to add for this one, Steve?
Yeah, like you say, this match is incredibly hard to call. I'm leaning to Gallows winning, but then that does mean, like you say, 2 wins for the Good Brothers, which Booking 101 says there's no chance they win Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably go for Doring, just like you say, to even the odds.
I think it's Doring. I'm going to go Doring on this one. I think you need VBD to go into this match strong, don't you?
Yeah.
Although who got pinned on in the first match?
Dina did.
Yeah. So then you do need Doring to win it.
Doring's got to win this, otherwise VBD look weak. So that's the way I look at it. I think Doring's going to win this, but I mean, you're going to go with Gallows, Joe, or
yeah, I'm going to reluctantly go with Dick Gallows. Although I would love it if Doring won, just to boost Violent by Design up, or if Willie Mack and Falaba would win, it would be great for them, but it wouldn't add anything to the storyline.
You might be right. Yeah. Okay, so moving on, because I want to spend a little bit more time on obviously Slammiversary.
Yeah.
So moving on, we've got Havoc versus Tasha Steelz. Now, this is an interesting one because again, we had Rosemary win last week, didn't we? Against Kira Hogan. So if Havoc goes over Steelz here, then we know that Fire and Flavor are going to win. So I'm going to go with Steelz on this one to make it a 50-50 split. I also think that generally they want to make Tasha look as strong as possible. We've seen this previously, haven't we, as well with Tasha?
Yeah.
They seem, when it comes to the single stuff, they generally let her win. So yeah, got to be interesting. What about you, Steve?
I can see some way in which Fire and Flavor get out of even wrestling this, Steels gets out of even wrestling this match. You know, maybe something happens, or they kind of coax their way out of it, or I don't see either woman losing here. Something happens.
Okay, that's interesting. What about you, Joe?
Now that Steve has said that, I think Kimberly and Stu Young might end up coming into the match and then it becoming a triple threat at Slammiversary.
You reckon? I know one thing. We're definitely going to see something going on with regards to Sue Young and obviously, you know, Father James Mitchell. I think tomorrow night there's obviously going to be some sort of backstage vignette.
If this match is higher up on the card towards the end of the night, then there's a chance that Kimberly and Sue Young will come out and do something. But otherwise. Yeah, otherwise, I was leaning towards Tasha Steelz winning only because she's won basically every other singles match she's had since Fire and Flavor have been together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I think Tasha's going to win this one if, like you say, there's no shenanigans. You know, who knows? I mean, I find it interesting. I was going to talk about that later. That at the moment, Susan and Kimber aren't on the card, which would suggest to me that there's obviously going to be some sort of shenanigans going on. Who knows? Maybe the Knockouts title match will turn into a fatal three-way or something. I don't know. But yeah, there is that possibility in there. But then, you know,
that was something stuck in my head.
Yeah, you know, and it's Sue Young and Kimber, not Susan and Kimber or Susie. Who knows?
Susie and Kimberly, you never know.
I mean, maybe James Mitchell will accidentally bring out Susie in Susan.
Or maybe you'll get it wrong again and it'll be Suzanne.
Yeah,
Suzanne. Who knows? It could be Suzanne. Yeah, you never know. You never know. But I think this is going to be definitely interesting. This one. We then got Moose versus Hernandez, who's you know obviously on the card for this one. I found this one a bit odd, to be honest. I mean, I understand why the matchup is now happening. But it just seemed to sort of kind of come out of nowhere for me. Obviously, Moose is going to win. If he was to lose to Hernandez in any way, shape, or form, that would make him look weak, and they can't do that. So he's obviously going to get a good win on this one. What do you think on this one, Joe?
Yeah, I think Moose is going to win this, or if Moose gets involved in Saban's match on BTI, Saban's going to do the same on here. So it's going to be like no contest, and it's just going to build on Chris Sabin versus Moose throughout the night, which is a good thing. And Hernandez is there. He swingers muscle. No one destroys anything. It disrupts in Swingers Palace. Moose did the exact opposite. He came in and just destroyed the place.
It's certainly going to be. I mean, they're two big dudes, and I know that
it's going to be a good match. If it goes, it goes end to end, it's going to be good.
I mean, if you look at Hernandez now from when he came back at the start of the pandemic, you know, when we started having no audiences and stuff, and then Hernandez turned up, you know, he has definitely been back in the gym. Because he looks completely different. So it's great to see that. So whatever happens, it's going to be hard hitting. We're going to get two big dudes going at it. That's for sure. Yeah. Now I'm just conscious of time, guys. So I really want to get into Slammiversary. So the last one that we've got on the card is Tennille Dashwood with Caleb with a K versus Jordan Grace, Rachel Ellering. You know. For me, you know, I'm going to say that there's possibly some shenanigans going on here, because you know, in the moment again, there's no Rachel Ellering, no Jordan Grace, no Tennille Dashwood, who've been featured prominently on Impact over the last several months, not on the card at Slammiversary at the moment. So I'm saying that somewhere along the line, there's possibly going to be shenanigans in here, and we're going to get maybe, you know, someone turn up to help Tennille maybe and Caleb, and then that ends up becoming some sort of kind of grudge tag match at Slammiversary with Tennille and a new female tag partner or something like that. I don't know.
beaten my prediction. Basically, I think this is
Yeah,
where we see the
likewise.
inspiration come in.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
you
we see
think
this.
that's going to happen tonight? You think that's going to happen tomorrow night?
Yeah, I do. I think we're gonna see them before, and then that'll kick off Slammiversary. Will be Jordan Grace and Rich Ellering versus the Inspiration.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I think this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one. I am looking forward to the match though, because as we all know, I am a Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering fan, and whenever Tni-Uk gets beaten up, I like that. So that's all good. So I think this one's going to be interesting. Now,
I can definitely see it, shenanigans, and like Joe says, you get. I can see the Inspiration turning up with Dashwood and then making it a 3-way at Slammiversary with Grace, Ellering, and Jazz.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows on that? I think you might be right. Maybe Jazz gets involved. Maybe this is there's a possibility on that one, isn't there? Okay, so that's pretty much what we've got in line for us tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. I always like the go home show. I like you suddenly get a few different setups for different matches that are then going to turn up on the pay-per-view. So I'm really looking forward to that. Make sure you guys tune into BTI just in case you don't want to miss any of the Iceman intel. Because you might get a few hints on that as well, so you definitely want to make sure that happens. And I think that Swinger and Sabre match is going to be an absolute classic, so you don't want to miss that. Right, so this yes, it could be match of the year. So let's move swiftly into the Slammiversary preview. I'm just literally going. I mean, I've got no idea what order these matches are going to be in, so we're just gonna go through them and have a chat. So we got the Knockouts Tag Championship, which is obviously Fire and Flavor at the moment versus Havoc and Rosemary. Again, we're talking about is there possibility that we could see something including Susie, Suzanne, or Sue Young, possibly with Kimberly turn up and get involved in this. I think we could see this turn into a 3-way. So, but what I do know is I feel that Havoc and Rosemary are going to win this, and this is where at the end of this is where we're going to see this is where we're going to see the what they're called now, the Inspiration turn up, the Iconics. This is where we're going to see the Inspiration turn up at the end of this match to effectively sort of kind of say we're here and we're coming for that. That could then potentially lead into a feud between Fire and Flavor and the Inspiration. Then lead into possibly to try and get that #1 contendership possibly. I don't know. That's my thoughts on that one. What about yourself, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I still think it'll stay as a 2-way, one-on-one. And yeah, I've got Havoc and Rosemary winning this. I feel the Knockouts tag division needs a bit of a freshen up. And I do think, all going well, we will get the Inspiration turn up, but I don't think it will be after this match.
Okay. That's interesting, and we've got some interesting names coming in the chat at the moment. With
Susanna, Susie
Q, Susanna. They could, I don't know. It could be anybody. What about you, Joe? What do you think on this one?
I'm going to go with Havoc and Rosemary as well. I think, like Steve said, the Knockouts tag team titles, it does need a bit of freshen up, and Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz, whether they're chasing the title or whether they have the belts, they're just so brilliant together. They honestly don't need the belts for a long time now because they're so over as a team, just on their charisma alone. And so to have them now in a long chase for a title, or even branching off to go for the Knockouts title, it'd just be great to see. And obviously, if the Iconics come in, having them go against Fire and Flavor first is probably the best way to start them off as well, rather than have them jump straight into Rosemary and Havoc. It gives Rosemary and Havoc a bit more room to build up as well, and it also stokes the fire with what's happening with Kimberly and Sue Young.
Of course, the other option could be that the Inspiration turn up and calls Havoc and Rosemary to lose, which then potentially sets up a feud between them and Rosemary and Havoc. Maybe.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
Yeah, But you don't need to do it all on one night, do you?
No.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't. What about you, Steve? What do you think?
For what? Sorry.
Oh, we've already spoken about that one with you, haven't we? So, okay, so that's interesting. I think we've got some great stuff coming in here. I'm looking forward to it. They're both great teams anyway. I mean, we all know that Fire and Flavor are fantastic. We all know that Havoc and Rosemary are great. So whatever happens, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a really good match out of this, no matter what. Definitely. So then the next card that we've got on, the next match we've got on the card would be the World Tag Team Championships, obviously the men. So we've got Violent by Design, a combination. We got the VBD rule. I'm going to say something in a minute with regards to that. Then we've got Swan and Mac, obviously TJP and Fala versus obviously the Good Brothers. Now, one of the questions that's coming out of this one is, which team are we going to get for Violent by Design? Now, I'm going to put something on the line here. I'm going to put the Bison lick on the line for this one, right? A Bison lick on the line for this one. I think it's going to be Joe Doring and Eric Young as the tag team for VBD.
That'd be interesting. I'm just wondering if Eric Young's still medically cleared to wrestle. That's the only thing. If he's cleared to wrestle, I don't see why they shouldn't do it. I think it would be awesome. Or have that at least if they do that, that would most likely set up as their last run as tag team champions. So it would be also so. I think it's going to be Deonna and Doring. Rather than, I think Rhino's not going to be taking a back seat for a little while longer, and while they see what's happening with Heath, hopefully he's still coming back to Impact Wrestling. But I think it seems now that Deonna and Doring are definitely the front runners for Violent by Design now, which is working great because Deonna is absolutely over as hell. He's even given his running dropkick into the turnbuckle a new name recently. So check his Twitter out for that because it's awesome, and it's. Those are the two guys that are really, really doing everything for Violent by Design at the moment, just on their star power. Rhino is there as a plaza extra muscle, and Eric Young's there as the leader, and he's still technically injured. So unless he's cleared to enter the match and go for it, which I would love to see him actually defend the titles at some point. I'm going to say Deonna and Doring are going to be the guys in the match.
Okay, and what about you, Steve?
Well, my first thought was Doring and Rhino, because everyone else has had a match prior, whereas Rhino's pretty fresh.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. I don't know why. I've just got this feeling that EY is gonna be the one that takes that spot. I just got this feeling it's gonna be.
The only issue is if you do rush back too soon, you can kind of injure even worse, can't you? So possibly rather than come back.
As long as he, I mean, I'm not saying he's gonna. I'm not saying he's gonna come back injured. What I'm hoping is he's gonna be medically cleared, and this is gonna be a surprise. That EY takes that spot because he's ready. You know what I mean? And nobody else knows that he's ready. Yeah. It's not been announced. We've not seen him do anything, but then all of a sudden, out comes EY. Slammiversary is part of the tag team champs. Boom. That would be a surprise, right?
He's still in great shape. You can't tell if he's actually injured. If he doesn't, we got Bound for Glory.
He's proper bulked up his upper body. If you see a picture of him when he came back Slammiversary last year compared to a picture of him now, he's proper bulked up. He has proper bulked up, so he's looking great. He's in great shape. So we've got, like I say, we still got Swan and Mac, Fala. We've got the Good Brothers. I'm going to go with Swan and Mac for the win. I think they're going to win. I think we're going to see a Rich Swan, Willie Mac title run. There you go. Bold prediction from the Bison. Yeah. Bold prediction. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win, Joe?
I'm going to go with Violent by Design.
Okay, Steve?
We still going,
Joe? Sorry, Joe. What were we saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Violent by Design for the win. In this tag match.
Okay. And what about you, Steve?
Yeah, I like, for me, Violent by Design should hold the titles to at least until at least Bound for Glory. But I've just got this horrible feeling in the bottom of my stomach that the Good Brothers are going to win it.
Yeah.
And pin either Swan or Mac or TJ and Fowler. And that's a way to protect Violent by Design.
Okay.
So as much as I don't want to, I'm going to say the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your view and opinion is literally what I'm thinking, but I'm not gonna go with my gut instinct. I'm gonna go with what my heart or my desire rather than use common sense. So Steve was thinking what I'm thinking, but going the other way around.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because so this one is got us proper divided. So because I'm going for Mac and Swan, you're going with VBD, and you're going with the Good Brothers. So this is interesting. I'm very excited to find out who's going to be right on this one. And we all know it's going to be the Bison. No, I'm only joking. But so I am very interested to see where this one turns out. Definitely, this is a bragging rights one. We can have a bragging rights go on this one. I reckon.
Yes,
it'd be good. Okay,
so
it's
when TJ wins, and everyone's like, oh.
Oh, damn it. Yeah. That would be funny. So we then move on, and we've got W. Morrissey versus Eddie Edwards. Now, I'm assuming that this match is all about basically putting over Morrissey even more. That he's going to beat Eddie Edwards. I'm going to go with that because I think that's what this is about. I don't see any other reason for this match actually happening other than to boost Morrissey beating someone like, who is, let's face it, one of the top guys on the Impact roster. So I'm going to go with Morrissey for the win on this one. I don't see any other reason for it to be happening other than that. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, I think it'd be a great match. And like you say, if Morrissey does win this, which I'm pretty sure he will, he'd have beaten Edwards and Swan, 2 of the 4 world champions within the last year. The only ones he wouldn't have beaten were Omega and EY. So that's pretty high up.
Yeah, they're definitely high on him. They're definitely pushing him forward, especially, which is kind of strange as well for a guy that apparently isn't actually signed. But so they're definitely pushing him forward. Maybe they're trying to show him that they've really got they've got faith in him and all that kind of stuff. And they really want him, I guess. I don't know. What about you, Joe? What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to say Eddie Edwards only because I'm such a devoted Eddie Edwards fan. Realistically, Morrissey is obviously going to win, but I already put Eddie Edwards over on Twitter, backing him up there, and I'm not going to go back on my word now. For me, Eddie Edwards is going to pull off a huge upset and win the match, but Morrissey facing Eddie Edwards is now the 3rd person on his list of guys he wanted to compete against before he goes for like Sammy Callahan or Kenny Omega or Moose. He's beaten Willie Mack and Rich Swann, and he's still got the potential to beat Eddie Edwards either on Saturday or coming up Bound for Glory. So Morrissey's got his checklist going down really quickly. He wanted to face Eddie Edwards at least before Bound for Glory, and he's got that now. So we got a very, very interesting development for Morrissey, and we could maybe even see him in the title picture by the end of the year.
Yeah. I mean, or is there a possibility during this we could see some shenanigans going on and maybe Eddie loses because of some kind of interference from a friend?
Maybe not. But I'm still going to go with Eddie. Anything is possible, guys.
Eddie's definitely AIP all the way. AIP all the way.
Oh, yeah.
So but I'm looking forward to this one because I think this is going to be a real test for Morrissey because let's face the facts, Eddie is an incredible wrestler. So if you're going to put him in with someone like Eddie, then the dude's got to pull something out of the bag. He can't just beat the snot out of Eddie because that's not going to happen, is it? So it's either way. I think potentially it's going to be a really, really good match, and I'm actually looking forward to it. Even though there's not really anything on the line, there's no real kind of drive for this one other than
revenge. Is the main one.
Yeah, exactly. Revenge. That's pretty much it. So I'm looking forward to this match definitely. Now we then move on and we've got the Ultimate X match. Now I'm super stoked for this one. I'm well looking forward to this match where we've got Josh Alexander, obviously the champion, one of my favorite wrestlers, versus Austin Aries, Chris Bay. Rohit Raju, another favorite of mine, Trey Miguel, and Petey Pump, Petey Williams. So we've got some real pedigree in here, because every single actually was Trey did win the X Division at one point.
No, he didn't. No,
he
he's
hasn't
never been
won it yet.
he's never been
No.
X Division champion, but he's been
Right.
he's content. He's gone for every title that's been in the company so far. That's
Okay.
currently in the company. He's just not
So-
never won a belt.
So you can say that in this Ultimate X, then the only one that hasn't did I say Austin Aries? I think I did. I meant Ace
Yes,
Austin.
you did.
I did say. Do you know what that is? That's because there was
Austin
some
Aries
news.
is Miss Teason coming
Yeah,
back.
there was some news that came out this week, which I was just like disgusted at. But anyway, so I meant Ace Austin. I apologize, Mir. I definitely meant Ace Austin. So in this matchup, then the only one that's not held the X Division title is Trey Miguel,
Yeah.
because obviously Petey Williams has been champion, Rohit's been champion a couple of times, Chris Bay, Ace Austin a few times, and now obviously Josh Alexander is current champion. So the only one that hasn't been champion in this is Trey Miguel. Now, interestingly enough, as much as I want to see Josh Alexander win, I would also like to see Trey Miguel win this match, because I think he deserves a run at the title just as much as anybody else. I have a feeling it's going to be Chris Bay, because they seem to be very high on Chris Bay at the moment. So I just have a feeling that maybe Chris Bay, and then I have a feeling that Josh is leaving that X Division title in its wake, and it's going to head straight for that main event and go for that world title. I don't know. I just have this feeling they're extremely high on Josh. He's over with the fan base big time, all over the world. So he's cutting some of the best primaries I've ever seen him do. He's doing, his matches are fantastic, must watch, must see. Who knows? But I just have this feeling that they're going to give it to Chris Bay. This is a good way to do it, because it means that Josh isn't actually getting pinned. It's a multi-man thing, so he's not getting pinned. He's not losing in a traditional way as such. He's just being beaten to climb high and get an X Division, get the belt off a rope or whatever. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Chris Bay, even though I think it should be Trey Miguel. Although I would love Josh Alexander to retain, even though I think he's up for bigger things. What are your thoughts, Joe?
I was gonna. Now that you mentioned Josh Alexander and the world title, I was gunning for Josh Alexander, and I still am deep down gunning for Josh Alexander to go, because I want to see this dream match between Josh Alexander and Petey Williams at some point, even if that's not for the X Division title. I want to see that for Bound for Glory. But I think Chris Bay or Trey Miguel have the higher chance of winning this match because of the way that they've been booked. Ace Austin and Rohit Raju, their alliance is going to break down into them having a tag team match against each other, and have maybe even going for the tag team titles. That's the best way to branch them off.
Yeah.
And Chris Bay and Trey Miguel have a rivalry that's been buried for a little while. And them two getting back up against each other is a great way to propel both of them forward after this match. So I'm going to say Trey Miguel gets the feel-good moment of the year and wins this match, as much as I want Josh Alexander to retain the title, because I want him to keep it for Bound for Glory. And then either but then who does he lose it to there, though? That's the other question that's just crossed my mind now. So it does make sense if he loses it here. Then now, or if he's going to lose it now. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad time to lose it later in the year, because his contract's up next year.
Yeah, sure. And quickly, Steve, what are your thoughts on this one then? Who do you think is going to take it?
Yeah, I mean, I was the same with you guys. I think torn between Josh and Chris Bay. Josh winning and then later on cashing in option C to go for, as of right now, Omega, or Bay winning, because the two sides, fighting between each other, and then them getting distracted and Chris just going up and taking the title. It was one of those two, and to be honest, I'm leaning more towards Bay.
Okay, that's interesting. So I'm finding this one difficult. One thing I do know is going to be an amazing match.
Oh, it's going to probably steal the night.
I think it's going to be an amazing match, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. So we then move on, and obviously we've got the Moose versus Saban match. Earlier this week, you may have seen my interview with Moose. He actually praised Saban in that, talking about, let's face the facts, the guy's an amazing wrestler. But unfortunately, he's going to be facing the wrestling god. He's not facing a wrestler or a man. He's facing the wrestling god. So I think obviously Moose has got to go over in this match, simply based on the fact that if they're going to keep him in that world title picture, which I think they are, then he just cannot lose. Simple as that. He can't lose. And again, what would be the advantage for Saban to win this one? He's a veteran at this point. He's now there to put people over more than sort of kind of win, I guess. One thing's for sure. Anyone against Chris Saban is going to be a great match, right?
Yeah, he's highly underrated. People look at Saban and think, "Oh, what a downgrade!" But for me, in every multi-man match that Saban's been in, he's been the star of that match.
Oh, he's amazing. He's an amazing wrestler. One-on-one, tag team. He's an incredible wrestler. Very entertaining. And like Joe has said in the past, very underrated on the mic. He's very good on the mic. It's interesting because, like you said before, when it's Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley always seems to sort of take the lead on the mic, doesn't he? But Saban is just as good. Okay, so what are your thoughts then, guys? I'm a bit conscious of time. I know that we need to be in a certain time. So what are your thoughts on this one then guys?
Moose. But it's black and white, really. Moose is going to win this match, and he's going to probably go forward and face. He's going to go forward and face whoever wins the main event. But Moose is just a no-brainer. But it's going to be a very, very competitive match, and it's going to prove a lot. People have complained about this match being put together. Well, Moose and Saban are going to shut a lot of people up with this match.
Yeah. Okay. And Steve, you're going to go with.
Yeah, I'm going for Moose, and I do predict a surprise, and this is one of the places I think it could happen. There's another place I think it could happen as well.
Okay, let's talk about the surprises once we've got through the matches, and we can get into that. So we then go into the Knockouts Championship. Obviously, at the moment, we've got Deonna Purrazzo versus 3 question marks. I'm going to put some on the limb here. I'm saying this is going to be Deonna Purrazzo versus Mickie James. This is a surprise, and Chelsea Green is going to come in at the end. She's going to obviously coming in to help her friend Deonna, but is going to cause Deonna to actually lose the match through distraction, and then this will lead to Deonna getting pissed off with Chelsea, her best mate. And that will then lead to Deonna versus Chelsea Green at the NWA Empower pay-per-view, all-female pay-per-view that Mickey's putting on. And then I think we'll end up with a rematch between Deonna and Mickie, where Deonna will beat Mickie to then obviously go on and face Fabi Apache. Done. There you go. I should be in that storytelling room. It's done. Bison's prediction. It's all written. It's done. Right. What are your thoughts on this one? What are your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, it does look like it could be Mickie. I mean, they're showing a lot of flashbacks of Mickie, and I mean, even an hour ago on their YouTube page, they shared Mickie James's best sort of highlights. But then they done a lot of that with the Aces and Eights, didn't they? And they never showed up. So you've got to be careful. I was looking through the NWA sort of female roster, given that Mickie James is there, and the name that cropped up to me, that sort of Gail Kim has history with. What about Taryn Terrell?
Yeah, Taryn Terrell would be another good one. You're right. And again, I think that would be a good one for the fan base as well. We would love to see Taryn turn up. So I think that would be really good. So who knows? What about you, Joe? What do you think? Come on, lad.
I think I did have Chelsea Green down as the favourite to come through, but
she's got an injury though, hasn't she, on her hand?
Yeah. But I'm also thinking Britt Baker might be another possibility. But Mickey
Okay.
James is going to be the most realistic one to come into the match, so that's what I'm going to go with. But I think Britt Baker would be a great one to introduce now
Yeah.
as well.
The only downside with a Britt Baker is we're in the same position with Omega as we would
Yeah.
be in the Knockouts division.
Yeah, I understand that too. But if they want to get that extra wow factor for Slammiversary, you got Mickey James or you got Britt Baker. It's hard to toss up between the two, but it's whichever one they think is going to be the biggest draw. But I would still go with Mickey James over Britt Baker.
Yeah, so would I.
Just for sensibility, not for publicity.
I also really like the idea of Taryn Terrell. I think that's a really, really good idea. I mean, here's the other one then. What about because I think Hakeem's just mentioned it in the chat. What about Killer Kelly making her debut?
Oh, that would be lovely. That would be fantastic.
It would be great, but has she kind of, with all due respect, earned the moniker of best in the world kind of thing?
Is she big enough? Yeah, I guess. Is she a big enough draw yet? No, probably not. But it would be cool. I mean, like you say, just imagine with the crowd there, the chance of Kelly's going to kill you chance. It would be cool.
It would be great, and I'd love to see it. But yeah.
But like you say, is that really the big enough opponent for her at this moment in time? I think it would be great.
That we were thinking
Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah. There's a possibility as well, definitely. And Thunder Rosa's actually mentioned she'd like to face some of the knockouts, hasn't she? So that's she's that's been mentioned. So that's going to be interesting how this one pans out. I'm looking forward to this one. Again, I think we're certainly going to see a few surprises in this one. That's a good shout, Sienna. Good shout on that one. So
Deonna wins it.
Definitely. Well, yeah, possibly. Yeah,
obviously.
I'm not sure, but here we go. I think she probably will, but you never know. Then we head into the world title match. Obviously, Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan. We all want Sami to win. We all want the draw to win. I have a feeling that that's not going to happen, especially as I think it was yesterday they announced that the match is going to be a no DQ, which then says to me that that's the easiest way for Callihan to lose. Because that means that Omega's posse can get involved with all sorts of shenanigans going on, and Sami can get screwed basically. So I'm going to go with Omega to retain to eventually face Moose at Bound for Glory at this bad boy here, Bound for Glory 2021. I think that's where it's going to happen. I think Moose is going to win the Impact World title Bound for Glory. I've thought that all along. That's where it's heading. So I am looking forward to seeing that. However, I would love to see Sami win. Because I think he deserves it. He's a fantastic wrestler, a great character, great performer, and I have to say, to me, he is the backbone of Impact Wrestling, and he deserves it. He really does. I think he deserves a run, especially after the Tessa debacle. So it's definitely a chance in there. So who are you going to go for the win? So we can get into the matchups here. Who are you going to go for the win, Joe?
Sami Callihan.
Okay, Steve?
Yeah, after Impact, I was going Callihan, but like you said, as soon as they named that stipulation, that was a clear Omega win, hence why I feel the Good Brothers are going to win the tag match as well.
Okay, interesting.
I think they're going to walk away with everything.
That will take a lot out of Slammiversary if they do that though, and but I do see that as a possibility, obviously. But I think Sami Callihan's going to win because there's been articles released recently about how they're going to write off Kenny Omega from the Impact Wrestling and make him drop the title from AEW.
Yeah.
So they've got plans of that already. So I think Sami Callihan's going to win this match, and it's going to be the beginning of getting Kenny Omega ready to go back to Japan for a while.
Okay. So. Yeah, that's interesting. You should say that, definitely. Okay, so let's talk about possible extra matchups or maybe additions to current matchups, and of course potential surprises as well. So I've already talked about something that I think would be quite cool to happen with regards to Eric Young. I think that would be a cool surprise if there is a possibility of Eric is obviously fit to wrestle. That would be cool. I've talked about there could be a possible thing with regards to Morrissey and Edwards. Maybe for me, I'm thinking Enzo. Because Enzo has always said that, you know, he doesn't want to wrestle unless there's a crowd, because his character, his persona is all about getting that crowd response, is getting the heat. That's what it's about. And for him, he feels like if there isn't a crowd, he's not going to get over. He's not going to work. So I get that. I get that totally. We are looking at the possibility, I think, of, like you say, maybe a Su Yung and Kimberly possibly getting involved or being added into the knockouts tag title match. I think that could be a possibility. What else? And yeah, I think maybe we could see somebody getting involved with regards to maybe Moose and Saban possibly. You know, in terms of who do I think could turn up at any one time, I have a funny feeling Alexander Wolf's going to turn up. I have a feeling.
Weren't you in Germany recently?
I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure, but I just have this feeling that, because I think he'd be a great fit for VBD personally. So someone like that would be good. Who else did I think? You know, again, we're talking about the inspiration. I honestly think they're going to turn up at some point. You know, is someone else maybe going to get involved with regards to the Dashwood? Tennille Dashwood thing going on there. Possibly there could be something turn up there. But you know, I think my biggest surprises or my biggest turn ups for me is going to be Mickie James. Chelsea Green will turn up. I'm convinced she's going to be there, just because she's turning up on Ring of Honor. She's not signed. She's just, you know, interested in that tournament that's going on. There's nothing else involved in that. Maybe a bit of commentary, she said, because she's still got that injury at the moment. So, you know, I think she's always said she wanted to do a bit of stuff with Ring of Honor. She's never been there. She wanted to give it a go. So I think maybe that's her way of having a go with Ring of Honor. And then I think she'll sign with Impact Wrestling eventually. I know that some people think that we're going to see Bryan Danielson. I don't think that's going to happen. You know, he's going to command too much money. And the only people that could probably afford him would be AEW. There's still the likes of Braun Strowman out there. Again, money is going to play a factor in that one. The dude was on The dude was on $2 million a year, right? Like, I know he's a millionaire, but he's still going to want to command a reasonable wage, isn't he? Wherever he goes. So, you know, I can't see that happening. There's some really great stars out there. But what I'll tell you who I'd like to see turn up, and that's Mace Mansour. I'd love to see Mansour turn up. I you know, from the indies. I think that would be pretty cool as well. So I don't know. What about your thoughts then, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, another couple of matches I think that are definitely building towards. I think you've definitely got Matt Cardona and Jake Something versus Brian Myers and Sam Beal. That'll definitely get added, I feel, even if it's on the pre-show or something. I think we'll definitely see that. And you were mentioning about the inspiration. I really, you know, this is a hunch, but I think we'll get the inspiration in Dashwood versus Grace Elwin and Jazz as a 6-way. I think that is where Dashwood's kind of look for a tag partner is. I'm hoping that's where it's been heading.
So rather than being a tag, rather than her gaining a tag partner, she's gaining a faction.
Yeah.
It's
all about her. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Anything else?
And I really hope that I'm sure we'll see Macklin on Slammiversary doing something. And maybe a call out, and this is where I said we'll see someone after the Moose and Saban match. This is the other place I can see this person, and that being James Storm.
Okay, what with Macklin?
Either calling out someone, like saying, you know, I'll have a fight with anyone, and James Storm kind of answers the call, and imagine the crowd back with James Storm. And obviously, you know, Saban, the relationship he's had with Saban.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. And what about you then, Joe? Any possible matchup surprises?
I think Aleister Black is with AEW now, isn't he? But
he's gone. Yeah.
I know there was someone else who's worked with Sami Callihan who's said that he's more than willing to come over to Impact Wrestling and work with Sami Callihan. So I forgot his name though, but I saw that on Facebook this morning. that was a possibility that someone might be interested in coming over to Impact Wrestling to work with Sammy Callahan.
Yeah, who was that? Yeah, I saw that as well. I can't think who that was. Anyone know in the chat? Who was it that was saying that they'd be interested in working? Yeah, I know, Gary. People do underestimate that Anthem, are willing to spend the money. You're right, but I think the money needs to be spent in other areas at the moment. Buddy Murphy. That's right.
Yes,
Buddy Murphy. Yeah,
I think we might see him. Especially if Steve Macklin, Steve was just saying, is issuing. Yeah, if Steve Macklin's issuing open challenges, then what's to say Buddy Murphy doesn't come out and answer the challenge?
Then
exactly,
partners, weren't they, in WWE?
Yeah,
and we're not forgetting the other one. Was it Wesley Blake? They were partners too.
Yeah, Wesley Blake. Yeah. So there's so many possibilities out there, as well as the amazing amount of talents that are currently free agents. I think people are gonna get some good surprises this Slammiversary, and this time, rather than sort of kind of shouting all bells and whistles about it, I think they're going to go a little bit sort of kind of understated. Again, Tony Nese would be great, but I think Tony is only just been released in the recent set of releases, so he couldn't possibly turn up for at least another couple of months.
It's the same with Ruby Wright would be someone else that everyone would like to see now, but she won't be free till Bound for Glory.
Exactly. So there is potential that we could see more and more people coming in the coming months. So even if a couple of the ones that you were thinking might turn up don't turn up at Slammiversary, there's no reason why they couldn't turn up. Following weeks and months leading up to Bound for Glory, and then you may see some new ones at Bound for Glory as well, which would be pretty cool. So
end up on the tapings.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, you still got Heath to come back as well yet. I don't know where he's at in his rehabilitation, but we've still got Heath to come back at some point, which would be great. That'll
be like a debut, because we didn't really see much of him last time.
So Jay Bone is saying Buddy is not available for at least another 2 months. So Buddy Murphy is won't be at Slammiversary then. So there you go. That's not an option. But I think Wesley Blake possibly could be. But there you go.
Yeah,
I think I certainly think we're going to see we're going to get a couple of surprises, and we're certainly going to get maybe 2 or 3 debuts. And I'm going to say 2 or 3. That. Possibly 4 individuals, but 2 or 3 debuts, talking about sort of kind of tag teams or however you want to look at it. So I'm very excited about Slammiversary right now, and I think they're playing it differently this year, in a sense that they're trying to be a little bit under the radar, a little bit do you know what I mean? They're not necessarily like they did last year, where it was all it's all going to change, blah blah blah. Yeah, they've sort of said that, but they've been a little bit under the radar on it. So and maybe some of these sort of kind of surprises are not going to really happen until the last minute. Maybe they're not sure yet. Stuff hasn't been signed, that sort of thing. So the I's haven't been dotted or the T's haven't been dotted yet. That kind of stuff.
Looks, I wouldn't be surprised if this year the majority of the signings are knockouts this year. It could be very knockout heavy.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's how I see it going.
It could be, and I think that we're looking at sort of kind of, if we are, like I said before a few weeks ago, I honestly believe that we're heading towards a 1 hour knockout show. So if that's the case, then they are going to have to get more knockouts in, because there wouldn't be enough.
Alexia Nicole will be one they need to get on, definitely.
That's it. So don't forget that, guys. Yeah. Hashtag Alexia for Impact. Let's get that trending. So I think that's about it. I think that's all we've got time for today, gents, and people in the chat. Please don't forget to head over to the TNI Patreon for exclusive extra content when you sign up, and also make sure you watch tomorrow night's TNI flagship Impact live review directly after the show has aired on Twitch and YouTube. There's also the watch along. Don't forget that we do the TNI watch along, so get involved in that if need be. I know that quite a few guys get involved in that now, so that's fantastic. Hang on a minute. 6 weeks to your birthday, Mir. We'll remember that. We'll remember that, buddy. Don't you worry. Right. Also, all TNI shows are also available for all you listen on the go. fans audio only via SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, basically wherever you listen to your favorite shows, you can find us. So head over, subscribe, hit any bells you need to, or tickle any bells you need to never miss a listen. It's really, really important, guys, that you just take the time, to give us a thumbs up. Where can we find you, Joe?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe-ker empty space, and you can follow me on Facebook if you look for Joe O'Keefe, look for hashtag empty space, hashtag the void, or if you fancy to test your sanity, look for hashtag daily giggle, and you'll find me somewhere there. And you can also find me on WrestleBuddy, although right now I'm currently still strolling through my recent article on Rosemary, going back through her entire career and Slammiversary being the final stop for her. But I'm still going through the first route of decay. Only just got onto the broken Harleys because I've been dealing with the puppy.
Wow, come on, son, get on with it. And what about you, Steve? Where can we find you?
You can find me at Simply Steve 311, where I post everything Impact Wrestling related. Or like Joe, you can find me at WrestleBuddy, where under the Impact Wrestling header for any Impact Wrestling articles.
Fantastic. And you can find me at Lord Bison 45 on Twitter, where I pretty much do all of my Facebook stuff. I don't bother with Instagram, and I'm myself on Facebook, not my persona. However, I do share things around. I'm in a few wrestling groups, so if you do come across me, I'm Jason Hawk on there. Feel free to say hello. Well, this has been Impacted Live, and we hope you've enjoyed spending time with us. And of course, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to today's special guest, Alexia Nicole. Absolutely, an absolute pleasure to have you on. Please take the time, guys, to help us moving up the rankings on YouTube by giving us a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to click subscribe and give that little bell a tickle. To never miss any of the TNI-UK and US teams. Great content each and every week. Make sure you check out my interview with the wrestling god Moose on Bison Talks Impact, also via the TNI Network or TNI UK section. And like I said, one more time, a huge thank you to Alexia Nicole for joining us. Also, make sure you follow her on social media, or if you want to see her in the Knockouts division, let Impact and Scott D'Amore know using the hashtag Alexia for Impact. With all that said, I have been Bison. They have been Simply Steve and the Joker. And this has been episode 39 of Impacted. Take care, everyone.
We're Bison! We